You can march, you can wear your shoes all you want, don't matter, baby.
So what's gonna happen after tonight?
They gonna kill another black man. You don't understand white supremacy, everything else gonna confuse you.
This shit is ridiculous what they doing here. I mean, this shit don't happen 100,000 times where a black man has gotten killed, and this justice system has robbed us time and time and time again.
Keep talking! Keep talking! All that talking, they shit ain't did nothing. Ain't never did nothing. Keep living like a bitch. I'm mad, man. Fuck that. All that talking ain't doing shit.
Really? Got a determination to free up humanity.
That's what we want.
All right, this looks like Greece. This looks like Palestine. This looks like everywhere in the world where people are
Stand it up.
One, we need to put an end to racial profiling, police murders of black men especially, and people of color in general, right? So we need to put a stop to that. Eventually, we need to put a stop to the police altogether, and we need to eradicate them from our communities completely, entirely. They don't even need to exist anymore, right? And so we have to push that. And we have to eliminate the prison industrial complex as a viable tactic to use against us, right? And what I mean by that is we have to politicize the prisoners, and we have to support political prisoners so that when someone does take a political action, that they're not just locked away in a dungeon. And those people that are locked up get politicized so that that's not a threat that they're using against us. About Oscar Grant because it was a clear videotaping of the situation. That's the only reason, right? And everybody got together around it because we've all been experiencing the same violence, maybe not to that level, but variations of it and degrees of it. We've all been experiencing that in Oakland. And so we see this case as like finally some evidence that can't be disputed, right? Because a lot of the times we get beat up and it's not on video, so it's disputed and it's our word against theirs, right? But the truth is that it's something that happens on the daily, and everybody's out here because they know it's been happening consistently. I mean, in reality, the problem with how we're approaching this situation is that we are attempting to resist slavery, right? But we're not using that language, and we're not having that in our analysis when we do so, right? The police evolved from slave catchers to modern day slave catchers, right? And so if that's the case, we understand that, then we're still dealing with the same institution, right? Slavery was outlawed. No, slavery was changed. Most people think, oh, the 13th Amendment. No, the 13th Amendment says that slavery is illegal unless you're duly convicted of a crime.
Here, the 1300 block of Broadway.
Citizens protecting citizens.
If you do not do so, you may be arrested. Section 409 of the Penal Code prohibits remaining present at an unlawful assembly.
Why don't you talk to people?
They just said this is an unlawful assembly. Why?
People demanding their rights is unlawful.
I'm not breaking any laws.
We ask that you comply with the officer's direction. That you walk up Broadway.
How far?
Walk up Broadway.
How far?
If you refuse to move, chemical agents will be used. This has been declared an unlawful assembly. Please leave the immediate area. If you do not do so, you will be arrested. Unlawful assembly! Please leave the area!
Cops are approaching from every direction. They're coming down Broadway, they're coming down 14th, they're coming from every direction, pushing people out. They're now jumping into the crowd and grabbing people. They're chasing people down the street at 14th and Broadway. It's 9 o'clock exactly. Oakland, 14th and Broadway. They're now jumping into the crowd and smacking people, grabbing them. They've cleared the intersection of 14th and Broadway at 9 o'clock. The area they've asked to be cleared is cleared. It's 9 o'clock. Anything that happens after this point is on them.
Sergeant Bautista, peace officer for the city of Oakland, by order of Captain Downing of the Oakland Police Department. We hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly, and in the name of the people of the state of California, command all those assembled at 14th and Broadway to immediately leave. If you do not do so, you may be arrested or subject to other police action, including the use of force.
The cops are
which
running
may
down
result
Broadway.
in serious injury. Section 409 of the Penal Code prohibits remaining present at an unlawful.
Local media reports of looting and burning in Oakland are simply untrue. There's a standoff between the cops and protesters who have done what they've been asked. They were asked to move from the area of 14th and Broadway. They have done so. You can clearly see that the intersection is secure by the police. There are far more cops than there are protesters at this point. And there's no looting and there's no burning, and it's 9:07.
Where's the command staff? You've got a cordon on that end where you're telling people to leave. They're not being allowed out.
You know, my name's Lindsay Comey, and I'm a Vietnam-era veteran. And when I look at police actions like this, I really see that we have an occupying army. We don't have a peacekeeping force. And that I think it's really important, especially as a veteran with skills in terms of military strategy and tactics, to really look at what they're doing, and that they're in attack formation and that they're in terrorist formation. So the fact that they put on their gas masks, you know, that was an intimidation technique so that we're not able to recognize them, and that they're not as visible when they do shit. The fact that when they felt a little threatened, that instead of using their batons as they were taught to push people and to move people, they started turning them around and poking and hitting people. Okay. So what we see is that they're scared shitless, and they're scared shitless of the people of Oakland. The thing is that they're setting themselves up into a line of terror. And that when we look at that, what we really see is that we're out here because a young man was murdered by a cop, and then he was killed by a BART cop. And a lot of these cops, they want us to think, oh, we're not BART cops, but you know what? You're the same cops, because you're the cops that are really saying that a couple guys running the streets on New Year's Day, that they need to get roughed up and murdered because you didn't like the fact that they were brown boys. We have a situation where we have a big gang problem in Oakland, and it's called the Popo Gang. They all wear a star, they all have a license to kill, and that I'm a mother, I have kids, and that it's not okay that brown children are murdered and it doesn't matter as much as white children. So for me, the problem is the fact that we've got a domestic army. We don't have a peacekeeping force, and that the violence is coming from these crazy people all dressed up, ready to wreak havoc in Oakland. So if you want to keep the peace, then we need some justice.